One of my earliest memories from school was stealing in primary school. Got your attention? Thought it might. Realised this week is why I've always had a bit of a iffy relationship with education. The ups and downs have been a lot more extreme because, morally ambiguous. I think that's the best way I could summarise it. Is someone asked how long it had taken to create one of the projects that I'd worked on, And I said, a lifetime of bad decisions. And several years of drawing because, kind of funny looking back because there's so many instances that have sort of formed my opinions, I suppose, and/or influenced the way that or who I became, I suppose, before art, because without passion, it was a constant stream of trial and error, more error than trial. But it's one of those things, like, when I was very young, it's not that we didn't have, it's not that I didn't come from I came from a working class background, but, it's not that I didn't have stuff. It was just seeing how much, because I think it was when I was asked to go and get some art supplies or some supplies, and I realised, they've got drawers and drawers and drawers full of art supplies. It was like one of the first times I remember that stealing permanent markers just so I could draw on stuff should have, should have taken the hint there, really. But the funny thing is like I say, is over the years, like up until I was about 18, is like constantly going through phases of, stealing and repentance. Doing it for a while, getting caught, repenting, not doing it, then doing it. It's a lot of the reason why I ended up getting into so much trouble when I was younger, because when you're stealing cannabis from your parents, and the reaction a lot of the time when I did get in trouble was only because it would upset my mother. So at a young age I learned that, don't rock the boat. Because shit rolls downhill. But yeah, it was always very difficult because I'd inevitably get in trouble in school, and then I'd get in trouble at home, and then I'd get it a third time because I'd been caught. And that was the thing, is like a lot of the time I was taught that, it's better to not get caught. Which, it's not really the lesson you should take from that. But it's kind of rolled into secondary school is why I ended up spelling fudge with my GCSEs, because I wasn't there. And when I was there, I was either getting in trouble or instigating trouble, which, yeah. And you'd like to think I would have learned my lesson, like I say, with education. It's like, but because I didn't have any real passion, I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, and the, turmoil of trying to fit in. It's that, and like I say, with dealing with this sort of hypocritical morality, like, you watch people steal, you watch people, or like watching your own parents benefit from stolen goods, doing drugs, doing Class A drugs. You know what I mean? It's like, rubs off on you, I suppose. It's like I say, makes you have questionable morality. And this is why I say, like, a lot of the time I learnt the hard way because, well, it's the easiest way to learn. Well, not the easiest, but you know what I mean. It's the way that sticks. Like I say, I laugh about it now because it's fucking ridiculous. So, the access to technology and knowledge wasn't quite there yet, as it is now, which, hey, the more you know. But like I say, it was like there was always this sort of battle between trying to fit in at home and then trying to fit in at school and then trying to like lead multiple different lives because, you know, couldn't necessarily explain where I was getting a lot of the stuff I was getting, because if I had, it would, you know, get me in more trouble from every angle. Which, yeah. So as I've always been a bit creative, and usually in the wrong ways because I am. I am. You know what I mean? It's like, should have learned a long time ago that, you know, whilst I enjoy learning, it's like the atypical education system is flawed. Like, this is why I say, if I had access to the same books now that I did back then, it would have been different. But in a lot of ways, reading was what kept me on the straight and, well, not on the straight and narrow, but, you know, never straying too far from the line. And that's the thing, is like, I say that like I didn't get in trouble, because I have, and yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, a lot of it's because I didn't have direction. You think of like, in the last 10 years since I've been creating art, I've gone from having basically no qualifications, really, 2/3 of a national diploma, which is basically nothing, to having a bachelor's degree and aspiring to want to get a doctorate. You know, do I need it? No. Do I want it? Well, you know, it would be nice, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's strange. That's all I'm gonna. But a lot of it's like said in the past, is like, there's only 8 levels to education. This is why, as much as I fucked around when I was younger, it's like I always kept a sort of foot in the door with education, and then at least knew that, you know, someday you might want to. Not to say the debt is actually ridiculous nowadays with the education system, but it's better to have skills and not use them. It's like I always explain to a friend, is like, think of skills like a workshop or like a shed. You know, if all you've got is a hammer, you're only going to ever be able to do a certain amount of tasks. The more skills you have, the more tools you have. That's kind of the way I've always looked at life. Is like, And this is what I say, like, I take the good and the bad. There's like a lot of the misadventures are what not only inform my art, but have, you know, helped me to find value, create virtue, and strive to be better in life, which, was it worth it? Who the fuck knows? Like, it's life, isn't it? This weird thing that we all experience. Right, let's show you some of the other creative stoofs. Because I have filled in another sketchbook and possibly, yeah. I was going to say possibly another one, but yeah, I've actually filled in another one as well. Because as much as I may have stopped doing A4 drawings, I am still working on sort of larger scales and sort of thinking ahead for works in the or paintings to do in the future. Some of them are more detailed than others. Oh yeah, a whole series of billionaires. But yeah, these are the ones I wanted to show you because god damn beautiful and iconic. Can't give these enough love. I mean, there's a few iterations. I will show you a few of them, but yeah. And I think the important thing to sort of take away from it was role models. When I was younger, I didn't have one. It was while I aspired to sort of read from great artists and great minds, it was never, well, not great, but you know what I mean, is that whilst I tried to read a lot, there wasn't that much available. And what was available wasn't necessarily as easy to access as it is nowadays. Which, yeah, the more you know. But the thing is purpose, you know what I mean? Is like, without purpose, you don't really have direction. Like, whilst I did some level of educational stuff when I was younger, it was never really much because there was no purpose to it. Like, I didn't see an outcome. There was no, like, real agenda for it. It was just a case of I felt that I needed to at least, like I say, keep my foot in the door, but yeah. I don't really, never really fitted in with the sort of academic crowd, and well, not that I really fit in with any crowd, but you know. I think that's the thing. It's like, I am who I am at this point. And it's like, life. It's a strange old bean. But if you're, if you are stuck and you don't have purpose, it's easy. Just try stuff. Like I say, it was only through sort of talking to myself and realizing what I enjoyed when I was younger that I've really explored art as an option. But you see it a lot with like the sort of, the thing that made me think about it was Mr. Beast videos. Because as much as, you can give people everything they want and need, you can provide them with all the resources in the world, but if they don't have purpose, they're just going to be bored. They're not going to be excited. They're not going to be interested in actually doing anything. Which, it's kind of sad because it's like I say, money is great and all, but purpose will help you to find direction in life. And like I say, I don't encourage anyone to do art, really. It's like, do anything. Try anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be creative. It's just something. the beauty of life is like, well, easiest thing that you can do really is simplify. What did you enjoy doing when you were younger? Do you enjoy working with your hands or your mind? And it's only really through exploration that you'll figure it out. But there's billionaires out there that are fucking miserable because all they do is collect wealth. They strive to collect more and more and more without ever having purpose for it. Which is why the minute they stop, they're fucking miserable, because the reality is sitting around doing fucking nothing is boring. As much as people strive to do it, it's dull. It's a lot of the reason why I'm so sort of manically obsessed with creating art, because I love doing it. As long as I've got artist materials, I will keep doing it because I love to do it. Whilst, that will evolve and inexorably, continually evolve as I get older. It's like, it's the beauty of it. It's the beauty of having purpose. Because, well, have the money or not, do the thing or, you know what I mean? It's like, if you only ever focus on money, you'll never truly find your purpose. Find what makes you happy. And I'm not talking about the glitz and glam, the excitement, what's sort of exciting in the moment. Because there's a lot of things that will bring you joy that won't be your purpose, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with necessarily having vices. It's just, yeah. Without purpose, it's all for nothing. And the only way you really get that is by trying things, And the more you try, the more you'll figure out yourself. Because that's the journey of life, is figuring out yourself. In a lot of ways, it's complicated. This is why I mentioned in the last video, I was like, nobody's perfect. I'm far from it. Still got a lot to work on and a lot to improve, but having come from basically nothing to being absolutely surrounded by art is like, it's pretty impressive, really. In a weird sort of way. And I think this is the thing, is like people get caught up in the sort of excitement. Something's exciting, therefore it must be the thing. And it's like, gambling's fun, but if you do it all the time, you got a problem. Some things are just their enjoyment. There's like gaming, it's fun, but it's just a way to process things. It's not, whilst yes, you could do it as a career, it's like, yeah. And the thing is, you'll know pretty quickly. Like I've seen it with other people where they're so convinced that they found their passion, and then within a year, they're questioning, why should I do it? I'm not getting paid. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Because you don't really love it, If you love something, you'll do it irregardless. You'll bend the world and, you will do it. This is the thing. It's like, if you let others influence you, you'll never do anything. Whereas if you start to influence yourself and actually, work on yourself, it's like, but hey, self-reliance is something that's not really taught anymore as such. But then philosophy is a very niche thing that few seem interested in. But like I say, each to their own. But time is the greatest revealer of purpose, because you'll know. It's a bit like when you meet someone that you like. You just know. It's a yeah. It's a difficult thing to put into words, how you can know something that isn't real. Because that's the thing. Like, it's like with faith. A lot of faith is that. It's the belief in the unknown. Having faith in the unknown. Ooh. But the more you try, the more you'll figure it out, because it'll get under your skin. You'll just want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And like I say, people will look at you like you're fucking mad, because they're just drifting along and being distracted by everything and, fixated purely on wealth and the acquisition of wealth, never truly bothering to try anything. That, the worst thing is, like, I've seen so many times, people will wait until they're retired. They'll wait until their health is so far gone that they can't actually do anything with the money. So they have the time and the money, and they can't do anything. They can't try anything because they're so assholed from work. It's like, yeah. Life. This is what I always say, is like, you're better off just trying everything and anything as soon as possible, as young as possible, because you'll figure things out, and whilst you'll cause a lot of problems and you'll upset a lot of people, it's not their life. And how will you ever know if you don't try? Like, but hey, it's the realization that you learn more through pain than you do through comfort. It's well, something some people will never learn, but at the same time, it's like, it's a very important thing to appreciate, because do you just want to be like everyone else, or do you want to figure out who you could be, what you could be? And like with me, it's like, you go back 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, at any point really, is like, if you told me I'd be making art or making content, I would have laughed at you, because, well, I wanted to fit in, I wanted to do something that provided money, I wanted to have a family and do all the shit that everyone else expects you to do. Which, hey, there's nothing wrong with if that's what you want to do with your life, but I see a lot of people rush into that whilst never truly understanding themselves. And it's like, can you really teach if you don't know yourself? I don't know. comes back around to, are you really learning, or is it just being, research? That's probably the best way of putting it. Tried to explain to a friend a while ago, I was like, because I realised their research was essentially just, what's the phrase? Essentially when you're just doing one piece of research to ensure the bias, like rather than actually taking 3 different bits of information that all were contrary and trying to actually figure it out rather than just taking things at face value. Like I say, trying to put into words the sort of benefits of finding your own purpose is so hard without it sounding fluffy. But, as I say, I can only but try. Oh. As for the update of what's going on with the Project Zero, which is what you're looking at, the installation / house, just waiting, sending out emails with the old Memento Mori, waiting on sales. Did consider whether I should just add a 0 or take a 0 off within a few months, because let's face it, I want to get this show on the road. I want to actually be able to produce more content and talk and do more rather than just rehashing the same stuff and looking at the same stuff, But as I say, all in due time. It's a weird thing when you know you're going to be successful, when you know you're going to get to where you want to be. It's like, well, as I explained to a friend, it's tedious because you wake up every day expecting today to be the day that you're going to start to rock and roll and move things forward. But yeah. Good old faith. This is what I say, is like, nothing will quite test your faith than a bit of delusion. But is it delusion if you know it's going to work? I don't know. Mindset and goals is one of those things. Talk for hours about it, but hey, results speak louder than words. That's the way I've always kind of looked at things. That's why I do what I do with the art, because potential is just that. And whilst I would love to be doing everything you see, on canvas, all of the paperwork, it's like, I don't really have the space. One day. This is why I say that this is the biggest part of the plan moving forward, is just having more space to do more and show more, do more content, yada yada. Wholesome yakety stuff, how to grow trees, how to look after trees. Boring self-reliance stuff, but what I would deem as important / real content, because it's a bit like with mindset. There's a lot of these things I talk about, and I will be honest with you based on the information I have, because I'm still learning and I'm not trying to sell you any shit. There's no guide, there's no secret plan or school or fucking. It's like, you want to learn? Go read Stoicism, go look at philosophy, go pick a book, Think and Grow Rich, Psychopath's Guide to Success. I could rattle off books for hours, and yeah. But like I say, want to produce more content that is just that. Content for content's sake. There's no sort of monetary thing attached to it. There's no need for ads or sponsors or any of that fucking bullshit. It's like just wholesome stuff. Art and growing stoof and making good food from said stoof. Gotta love how eloquent I am. Someone was trying to teach me Latin words for plants and I just laughed at them. I was like, I don't have the faculty to remember that many Latin words for the sake of... yeah. Horticulturists and gardeners always seem to want to take it that extra step too far, and it's like, I'm good. I just like growing weird and wonderful things. Stick with that. Weird edible stuff. Oh, right. I'm going to leave you to it. I'm sorry for the slightly dull point of view this week. It's, well, much like I say, until I get Project Zero off the ground, it's like, there's going to be a lot of it, unfortunately. So I haven't been producing much content because not really there's not much I can do at the moment, so there's not much to look at. And yeah, there's only so many places I can go within nature where it's like, I don't know. Like I say, the ever-evolving plan continues, but such is life. If you made it this far through the video and want to help out, make sure to subscribe. The Alfy Book 2 should be out within the next month. I don't know. Soon. Very soon. We'll go with that. And yeah. I will be back. Give you some sort of update. I've got a few plans for locations to film at. It's just I've got to actually get there and try and get permission. Which until I have more subscribers and more, of the traditional businessy malarkey, it's like, yeah. Can't really go in and be like, hey, I've got more followers on my X account than the local council. Is like, because X is, bit of a cesspool. But as I say, follow on socials. I will be back. Thank you very much for watching. Stay awesome. Keep positive. Any questions? Drop them in the comments. Peace out, my lovers.